Warning, mature content ahead. You are now entering the Atomic Nerd Alert. Hey guys, welcome back to the Atomic Nerd Alert. This is the second ever episode. I am your host, Jordan, and I'm here with the ever-elusive...
Hey guys, it's me, Kristina. How are you all doing today?
Hey. So, spoiler alert. Spoiler. We are talking about Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, which is still in theaters right now. You can go see it anytime, really. Just go.
And Deadpool came out.
Fucking
awesome.
I wanted to see Deadpool. I just haven't been able to.
Oh, I saw it. So awesome.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Zombies.
Francis! Sorry. If you all have seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes. But zombies.
Yeah.
Zombies are one of the biggest pop culture icons, especially with like The Walking Dead and everything, and how
Night of the Living Dead.
Yes, yeah. Night of the Living Dead, and everybody's just loving zombies. So of course, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. What's better than zombies, really?
A lot of things, but zombies are definitely on the top.
True. The entire plotline was awesome. As someone that has not actually read any of Jane Austen books, or even this book, which, sorry to say, if you do not know, this is originally a book. Shame on you if you did not, at least. This was something that I thought was pretty cool, done pretty well, and with it, the entire plot. Obviously, it was Pride and Prejudice, but how much of it was really Pride and Prejudice from the original Jane Austen?
Oh, it was pretty close. I mean, still stuck to the same story plot of, like, Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth Bennet. Like, it still kept the whole romance and their pride and, of course, prejudice, that's the title, towards each other and their attitudes, and the villain, Mr. Wickham, in it, so which kind of brought them together.
Yeah.
So it stuck really well to that. The only difference is that it made it more action-packed, you know? Because with the zombies and learning martial arts and everything, and women being able to fight, where back then they were more considered delicate creatures that needed, as Mr. Darcy said, skills in the modern languages and art, dancing, etc.
I still find it really interesting with the dynamic with the Chinese and the Japanese sword styles, with the aristocrats went for the Japanese style, and the the wise, as they said, went towards the Chinese style, which I can see that with the Chinese philosophers. The great Chinese philosophers is the inspiration for doing all that, and actually
the art of war.
Yes, the art of war. So I found that aspect very interesting with the different sword styles. It kind of had a different, like, ninjas versus samurai feel to it.
I went Mr. Darcy's samurai sword.
I know. And his leather.
So much. And his leather coat. My God.
That creaking leather going down the steps.
Yeah. I have a weird thing for leather.
You
leather
do.
Jackets.
You do.
Anyway, so for the visual effects and the makeup, they were pretty decent. I liked it, especially with the zombies and their makeup. It wasn't, like, as gruesome or anything else that you usually see, but I thought it was a good in-between, just because you could tell the difference between a recent undead and then a very, very, very long gone undead corpse. So
I kind of like that too, because it is a rated R movie, but if kids do end up seeing, like, teenagers, it's not like watching The Walking Dead where they're, like, all gruesome and grueling and everything. So
yeah, I noticed that. Not, like, as far as from what I saw, like, I've seen the movie 3 times, guys, so pretty much from what I saw is that there wasn't, like, guts hanging out or anything. You just saw, like, you know, the faces. Like, their faces were peeled off, or their jaw and their skin were, like, all gone. You just saw their bare teeth, or maybe, like, an arm bitten, or, like, it was mostly on the face.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, because on faraway shots, you didn't see that.
And it was harder to bite down on somebody if it wasn't, like, on their face or on their hand, because of the amount of clothes that they wore in that time era.
Well, and plus the other thing, with these zombies, they went for the traditional sense of they want brains. So it kind of makes more sense that they focused more on the face as the damage.
Correction on that, I think it's PG-13 instead of rated R for Pride and Prejudice. Yeah, I think it is. So definitely kids can see it, and
I was excited. I was actually surprised when it got taken up as a movie because the book was so cheesy because of ninjas in the book. Spoilers for those who have not read it.
I really did like in filmmaking right now, there is a cliche where to pass time, to show that they're traveling as like a fast travel sort of thing, where they just have a map on there and then map out where they're going. That's a big movie cliche to save some time on there. But I kind of like that visual effect where it was like the blood dripping, showing where they were going on the map. That was kind of cool.
Oh yeah, and of course, like Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen's a very slow-paced book. Yeah. And so, even with the movies, like, it's a slow-paced set. So having this with zombies is more immediate, and that's what I think I really liked about it.
Yeah, I liked it a little bit more with the action on there as well. And there was some elements that kind of reminded me of, like, a little bit of The Walking Dead, but not really, and then a little bit of Attack on Titan as well. With the walls, the walls set up and everything, that kind of reminded me of Attack on Titan, where they have like different areas in the walls, and the zombies breached those walls, and they were attacking.
No, they didn't breach the walls. They had someone lead them in.
That's pretty much the same thing. It's still a breach. It's still an entrance. An enemy entered. That is still a breach.
I know. I'm just saying, like, they were let in.
Yeah, by Mr. Wickham.
Not like actual attack on, like, a giant titan.
Yeah, it's not like a giant titan actually just crashed in, or like the skinned one was the Colossus Titan attacks everything, and then, it wasn't anything like that. It was just like the different...
It's just the wall that reminded you of it.
Yeah, the different walls and the different areas where they're like,
well, there was only one giant wall, and then they had the Royal Canal.
Yeah, that part right there kind of reminded me a little bit of Attack on Titan, but not really. And then the aristocratic feel for the zombies as well, too. How they would eat the pig's brains instead of human brains, so they can keep some of their mentality.
Original.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they can turn into a giant army controlled together to attack everyone. And I found that really, really awesome.
I found it very interesting, to say the least. So
it reminded me kind of like iZombie in a way, but not really at the same time, because how with iZombie, if they don't eat brains, then they turn into the ferals, like, in Pride and Prejudice. If they do eat brains, it does make them feral, which is kind of weird, but also awesome at the same time.
It sustains them. It's the same thing with the pig brains, helping them sustain them. I thought it was really good that they did that.
There was one scene that really irked me because it was a giant cliche, and that was towards the ending.
The ending when they got married?
No, not when they got married. When they're like, oh God, we're out of the nick of time. Here, we gotta cross the bridge.
Oh my God. The
yeah, they're blowing up the bridge. There's like fireworks and everything right behind him with the bridge blowing, and then all of a sudden you think that Mr. Darcy's dead, but he's not. He's just unconscious, and oh my God, the kiss brought him back to life, sort of thing. Because that's kind of how it cut, is like she kissed him, then when he's unconscious,
he even said he heard her.
Yeah, he heard her,
so he wasn't dead.
Yeah.
He was probably just like, fuck, I'm so fucking tired.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, he was fighting with Mr. Wickham for a good long time.
And that kind of scene there, that would have given him a concussion with the explosion, being knocked off your horse and hit on car on the
what's interesting pavements. Is that they survived, but what the fuck happened to the horse?
What did happen to the horse?
Because they were on the horse, so I don't...
Did the horse fall and they jumped or something? And
I don't know. I would have thought like the horse would be somewhere near them because they were on it, and there's no way you can just jump off a horse.
And they were like at least 15 feet away from the edge too.
Mm-hmm. It's like, what happened to the horse?
What happened to the goddamn horse?
It probably thought it's going to disappear. Ninja horse.
It was a white horse. It's the ninja horse.
All right.
Or was that the horse that Mr. Wickham was riding?
No.
Because he didn't have a horse at that time.
But he had a horse in the movie, yeah.
Yeah, but when they were fighting.
He rode a black horse.
Yeah. That was kind of interesting. If you like spoilers and you're listening to this, stay tuned to the ending of part of the credits there. There is awesome scene right afterwards that alludes to another movie, possibly.
or just making it more exciting, because I know at the end of the movie, even you were just like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
They got married, which
did.
is awesome.
It was like a double wedding with her and her sister, and Parson Collins was the officiate on that, and yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah. Well, I thought that was a great little touch, and that's awesome. Just because even when there's a zombie apocalypse, like even Mr. Wickham said this, it takes 9 months to make a baby, then 16 years to make a soldier, and then it takes 1 instant to turn into an undead. So I thought that was great that they added that in there, showing like, hey, we could die tomorrow. Let's get fucking married.
Yeah.
So, and then of course they got married, and look, giant zombie army.
Yeah.
It's like, see.
So it's like what
timing.
what goes around
Just
comes around.
too bad you can't consummate it yet.
True. Who knows that they actually haven't at that point? I mean, in between.
It would have been improper.
I know it's improper, but she's
improper.
also a lady that's fighting, and she's very strong-willed, and so she's the kind that's like, fuck this, I do what I want. So
but she's still a lady.
She's still a lady, yes, but I can still see her doing that because her will as a lady.
Yeah, I could. Like, if it was modern day, fuck yeah, it would have happened.
It would have.
But you're going back in the past.
I know, it's in the 1800s, but still, though, it still kind of has that feel to me. And then that entire ending cliche, that's the only thing that really stood out as oh my god, why can't we change this? So if you had to change the ending, how should it have ended for you?
Well, in the original Pride and Prejudice, you didn't see them get married at the end of the book. It didn't happen. It just led on saying that they were engaged. That was it. So, and that's kind of how it ended. There is a sequel to the Pride and Prejudice book that I am aware of. I have not read it. But with the Pride and Prejudice and Zombies movie, I really appreciated the fact, because I know even in the original Pride and Prejudice, like, I really wanted to hear them get married, because Lady Catherine was strictly against it in the Pride and Prejudice book. And then with the Zombies one, like, she was still against it, yeah, but it was kind of more of like okay, you guys deserve each other. I liked it. I think when you're trying to stick with something such as Pride and Prejudice and still keep to the whole theme and the pace, it does seem a little weird, because you're so used to that hardcore action scene with the bridge and the fighting with Mr. Wickham that you're just like, fuck yeah, like, this is gonna be an awesome ending. And then you have to go back down to earth where it keeps to the normal pace. And then you're just kind of thrown off. But I think that's another reason why they added the cutscene of Mr. Wickham with the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, with the whole massive fucking army of zombies coming towards them, to get that pace back up. And lead to maybe a potential second movie, but I kind of doubt it.
I kind of doubt a second movie as well. And how I would have absolutely loved to see it end was have Lady Catherine go out and fight side by side with Liz. That would have been amazing. Because it kind of is like Lady Catherine and Liz are the older version and the younger version of the same person, like 2 sides of the same coin. It kind of reminds me of that with their fighting style and how strong-willed those 2 women are. I would have loved to see them fight side by side, kicking ass and saving Mr. Darcy, as well as lopping off the head of Mr. Wickham. I would have loved to see that.
I would have loved to see Lady Catherine fight.
Exactly. Instead of just that small, 10-second clip of her being a badass, cutting some heads off of zombies and standing on top of a barricade going, rah! I would have loved to see that aspect of her, to actually have her fighting. I mean, seriously, she looked like a badass. I wanted to see why she lost her eye, instead of just that little clip those little snippets and clips.
Yeah. I know what you mean. I would have also loved to see more of Mr. Darcy's sister.
Yes.
I really would have. Just because you saw more of her in the original Pride and Prejudice movies, and you saw more of her, or read more of her in the book, that just, it just would have been interesting. Though I am really, this is off note, I'm really glad they didn't add the scene of Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth Bennet in the Pride and Prejudice Zombies book meeting up on that walk and then finding zombies chewing on cabbage, thinking it's brains.
Wow.
So when I say the book is a little cheesy, I'm not kidding.
That must have been a little filler there, because they didn't know what else to write at that time and needed some extra page space.
Well, it's also, it's supposed to be a silly book, you know, like the Zombie Guide to the Apocalypse.
But hey, it stood out to you. I mean, how many years has it been since you've actually read the book? At least like
couple.
Yeah, at least maybe
I think
3
I
or
read
4.
That, like 4 or 5 years ago.
Wow. And it stood out to you that much with the cabbage.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Because it was one of those scenes where you just went, what the fuck?
That is awesome.
So I'm really glad they didn't add that in the movie. And I know it's from the same creator of, like, Abraham Lincoln, like, Vampire Hunter. And I love that movie. I thought it was great.
That was a pretty good movie.
But it added a whole new mystery and everything.
And that was awesome. Another book I have not read either. I wish I had. It's on my list. It is definitely on my list to do. Can we appreciate the madness and the awesomeness that is Matt Smith?
Oh, Matt Smith with
being
Parson Collins.
Matt Smith played Parson Collins, and he channeled, like, the Doctor with himself, with Pride and Prejudice, and it was pretty badass. How would you describe it?
How would I describe it? I feel like Matt Smith was just being Matt Smith.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if he wasn't the Doctor, like, we'd still go, man, this actor's just being himself.
Yeah.
Because Parson Collins was a little bit more down to earth. But of course, Matt Smith, being Matt Smith, he was being himself and be like, I'm going to enjoy everything and jump around. The dance scene, everyone can agree. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
He was definitely very light-footed.
Oh, he's like, yes, I'm going to dance around like a little fairy.
And be like, a parson can be chased no more. Oh god.
Wow. So that's that's awesome. Because it really reminded me of Matt Smith being Matt Smith, or this entire scenario, this entire book could have been an episode of Doctor Who with Matt Smith, where if Matt Smith was in
an alternate universe and he was
if he
playing
was doing
the
an
side
alternate
guy.
Yeah. Or how with the David Tennant one where he locked his memories into a pocket watch, and that's when he opened it up, he remembered everything that was going on and everything, and he aged like a normal human, so he had like humanic deal and everything. So I could have seen that as, this is the Doctor actually as the Parson Collins, because, you know, Doctor, healer, Parson, that's a spiritual figure.
Parson Collins, that's a
yeah, I know, he's a pastor, he's a priest, and a lot of people in that time looked to your pastors and your priests as a healer, as a mental, spiritual healer, especially in trying times. So it kind of fits that bill just ever so slightly on that, where I could see it that way, and that would be a nice, huge-ass twist. That would have been a really good twist if it actually was. So that's a good way how it could have ended as well, too, as if it was an episode of Doctor Who. But I really just enjoyed the brilliance of Matt Smith, just being Matt Smith and his little oh.
Yeah.
Whenever he would say oh.
Or I love the whole bugga.
Oh, bugga.
Or yes. She is baking. She is baking!
He just has like these quip little one-liners, and they were just amazing.
Or I never forget a face, yeah. No, okay, but let's go on the subject of Mr. Wickham.
Yes.
And for anyone who's seen the movie, I'm sure, like, whoever's read the book and everything, we all know he's no good.
Yes.
There's something up to him. We all know that something's going to happen, and we all know he's going to make Lydia run off with him.
I kind of figured he was no good from the get-go when Mr. Darcy was riding off real fast when he saw him. And he just had, like, this sleuthiness about him.
For each other.
I wish they were, too. That would have been an awesome ending twist, too. But maybe they were.
No, they were not.
Oh, damn it.
They were rivals.
Damn it. Because that would have been perfect. The rival that's actually the lover, but they hate each other. That's awesome. That would make an awesome plot twist.
Sorry, no.
But I knew that Mr. Wickham was no good when he was all coming up, all cocky and confident, hair slicked back, the stereotypical.
He was also a lieutenant.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
It was like like his stature, the way he presented himself was the stereotypical, I'm a narcissist and I am evil and I'm gonna make you fall in love with me anyway.
Well, that's also the typical posture of like what a noble gentleman.
A very posh gentleman, yeah.
Yes. So, but he was also in the military. So even back then, like, military officers needed to be very, 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 very strict on how they were presenting themselves. So,
but I'm just thinking, like,
but let's
from
talk
the movie
about,
stature.
I know you've never read the Pride and Prejudice books. But
I've never read them.
Let's talk about the ball when he showed up. That never happened in the books. He didn't do it because, one, Mr. Darcy knew, like, his methods and everything. It would have been too risky for him to show up. So he didn't do it. Okay. So, but in the book, for Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, and in the movie, you see he does show up. And that's where it kind of, for anyone who's read the original Pride and Prejudice, you're thinking, oh, something's going on, something's going up, or you're going, what the fuck, this didn't fucking happen.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I know this is not supposed to be a strict, like, copy of Pride and Prejudice, it's supposed to be a new little fiction deal, but still.
It's a fan fiction.
But that also leads to, like, how the zombies got in the house, because everyone knows the house is really fortified. The only way a zombie could get in is if you were bit. So when Mr. Wickham shows up to the ball, one, I was shocked just because I'm like, huh, okay, all right, cool, he showed up, and then you see the zombies, and you're like, oh, and when they said, our new friend showed us the way, that's where it kind of clicked off in my mind. I'm like, okay, Mr. Wickham's involved somehow.
Question is, how long has he actually been in town? Because I forget what her name was. She was talking to Elizabeth at the first time when they had the ball and they were meeting everybody. And you knew that the entire platoon was back in town and everything.
Oh, you mean when Lydia was talking, saying the militia they sent extra soldiers?
Yeah, so when they went to the first ball and they met Mr. Darcy and the Mr.
You mean the dance?
Yes, the dance. When they went the first time with the zombies and she's like, I have something to tell you. And bam, that part scared the crap out of me, I gotta say.
Yeah. Well, it's a possibility. It is. I mean,
was that Mr. Wickham?
He's been hiding Mr. Wickham, yeah, it's a possibility. Like, he's been hiding the fact that he is a zombie. He's been planning to destroy London. So that takes a long time.
Because he's the Antichrist. I didn't really get
a long time. So it's a possibility. It really is. Because also, when you think about it, if they're so strict on who enters the house before, like in the beginning of the movie, you saw, like, they were definitely hardcore checking Mr. Darcy.
Yes.
So if they, like, it's a possibility, like, they just didn't do that with him.
Because it could have been the niece of the one guy that Mr. Darcy killed. That
Mr. Kingston?
Kingston.
I believe his name is. Maybe not that. Anyway, at the beginning of the movie, you see this man who's been infected. He's playing cards. He hasn't eaten brains yet. But we all have the fact that he probably bit his niece.
Yeah.
So it could be a possibility Mr. Wickham bit him. That's just my theory on it. It's possibly not true. Or maybe one of the other aristocratic zombies.
Yeah.
Because he may have bitten his niece, but the hunger took her and she killed someone. Yet he was being really strict on controlling it. So it could be that he was also trying to recruit people, maybe?
Maybe. Because I can see that. Anybody that needs an army...
And this is just a theory, too.
Yeah. Anybody that needs an army, they need recruits. And not all of them are going to be in the church and be aristocratic and go off and kill things and everything. But that's one thing that I thought was, at the beginning part, did he actually let the zombies in when they were having the dance and meeting?
You mean with the ball?
The first dance.
The first dance.
Yes.
Or
was
we
that
don't know. We think that they just wandered themselves.
Because they were checking really hardcore. That's what I was thinking on that.
Who knows?
And what's the other guy's name? I forget.
Mr. Bingley?
Bingley. Yes.
I was disappointed.
You were disappointed with Mr. Bingley.
Well,
why?
then again, that's just the character. Mr. Bingley wasn't that much of a physical, like, in-your-face person in the original Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen.
Mm-hmm.
So, but with this one, like, I was kind of like, oh, come on, dude. You're a captain. Come on, dude.
He's like a cowardly captain, though. He seemed like he was the damsel in distress that needed to be saved the entire time.
Yeah, and that's when Jane showed up. Jane's awesome.
Jane is awesome. But seriously, I really like that because this movie, the book, is very feminist. It is very pro-women, kicking ass, taking names, and the woman is doing what she wants, and she's equal to men in that aspect, especially when Liz found her match on that. But with Mr. Bingley, he just seemed like the damsel in distress because he was always getting himself into trouble, or he was drawn into trouble as well when Liz grabbed him at the ball and was like, "We have no time. We need to destroy the zombies." And she was the one kicking ass, and he ended up falling on his head.
Well, no, the zombie grabbed him.
Yeah.
And that's how he fell on his head.
Still, he still fell on his head. So
It happens if you don't see it coming.
But I was just like, okay, you need a bunch of women to save you and Mr. Darcy to save you. That's kind of how I felt about him, is that he was there for eye candy and damsel in distress.
Well, that's how he's always been, though. He's always been that character that doesn't do much.
Yeah.
He's just, it's there to add another plot to it.
So he's the neutral party.
Yeah, but when you think about it, that's what also brings also, that's how he's also there for the fact that he helps bring Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he's probably the reason why
so he's
they
the
get
catalyst.
so angry and everything. So he's a key player in helping with that.
So he's pretty much the catalyst of pushing the plot along.
He's a necessary character. Okay, but otherwise, the movie was great. It was awesome. I really liked it. I've seen it 3 times.
I saw it once.
I love it. I love it, especially... I'm a fan of Pride and Prejudice, so of course, anything... And I'm also a big fan of zombies, so of course, this was something I had to see. First time I saw it just to see it. Second time was getting more critical, and third time was to be even more,
critical,
analytic about it.
Yeah.
So.
But wasn't the first time you saw it was on opening night?
No, it was the day after.
The day after, so it was the opening weekend.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I've only seen it one time. It is still in theaters right now, so if you're wanting to go see it, go check your listings of your local theaters. Support them. Give them some love.
Yeah.
Theaters need some love.
And see Deadpool.
Go see Deadpool as well.
I saw it. It was pretty amazing. You have still yet to see it.
I still have yet to see it. I need to see it. But hey, guys, give a special thanks to our awesome buddy Charley, who has revamped the Atomic Nerd Alert look. It's nice and yellow and orange and has our twiddle handles, our Tweedledee and Tweedledums. Yes. So give our brother some likes, some loves. You can find him at Chuck Pros on Twitter. And you can also find him at Chuck Productions on the Facebooks.
Check it out. Everything else. But let us know what you thought of the movie if you have seen it. If you have not seen it, please do. Along with Deadpool, make it a movie weekend. I know it's expensive, but it's
double
awesome.
Feature weekend there.
Take your loved ones with.
And hold them close.
Yes.
Because you never know when a zombie will bite them or a Deadpool will lop their head off. So we will catch all of you guys later in the next episode of Atomic Nerd Alert. Be sure to like, share, and favorite, and do what you gotta do to show us some love. And let us know what you guys think of these. That would be awesome. A lot of feedback would be appreciated. So, we'll see y'all later.
Have a great night, and don't let the zombies bite. Hail Satan!
And Cthulhu! And